Well, what does the housing market have in store for our brand new year 2026? Is there enough supply, and what kind of supply will there be? Jason Berggraf is with the Greater Home Builders Association. He's here to discuss this with us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Will.
And
Thanks for having me.
Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year to you.
I love this because we're starting off the new year, and there's so many questions, especially over the last couple of years, when you think about housing. So we've got some great tips that you're going to provide today.
Yeah, just to kind of give people an overall view of kind of what to anticipate over the next year.
I love that. All right, we're going to get to our first one today, housing sales in 2026.
Yeah, we're really hoping for a bigger year. Ottawa's been better than most markets across the province and certainly across the country. But we're still at about, 50, 60% of where we want to be. So sales have been 3,000-ish. We really need that to be almost double to really get the amount of housing we need. Last year was a bit better. This year I'm hoping for still a bit more momentum, but have that growth be even higher. Let's get to 4,000 or 5,000 sales overall would be fantastic for our overall community.
I like that too. Okay, we're putting a positive spin on this. We're talking about what
right.
we want in 2026 as we move forward.
You have to. Housing has been, housing is cyclical, right? So it's been such a low market for a number of years. It's been dragging out farther than it really should. So we're really hoping to start to see a pickup, and that's really all about consumer confidence, which I think we'll see reflected in the next couple of points.
I love that, and I love your optimism. This is why we have Jason on here. Okay, affordable housing, which is obviously top of mind. Everything in life is getting more expensive, so let's talk about this issue.
Yeah, so the big announcement from the fall was $400 million from the feds to build 3,000 deeply affordable units, so the vast majority of that on federal-owned land. That's fantastic. We need more supply in every segment of the housing continuum, from deeply affordable to mid-size affordable to private rental and private ownership. But it really speaks to the cost pressures that if the feds have to write a check for $400 million to make this happen over here, those same costs are throughout no matter what type of housing you're talking about, right? So it really says we need to address those affordability pieces, and the taxes, levies, charges that every level of government is putting on housing is really making it unaffordable and making people kind of stay on the sidelines for that. So I'm using that big example. Yes, that's great, but it's even building on stuff land that they own, so there's not a cost factor on that. But you know what? 3,000 deeply affordable units. They say the majority of the starts are going to, start building this year. So that's going to mean a nice cutoff of people who are waiting for that type of housing in Ottawa.
And I like that too. Get off the sidelines, get in the game, right?
That's
we
right.
want people to get into the housing market. All right, what is currently being built, especially when we talk about, of course, the capital?
Yeah, so the vast majority of housing is still in the South End, Barrhaven, Leitrim, Riverside South. That's about 40% of all the new housing low-rise housing gets built around there. Canada, West End is usually about 30%, and Orleans sees about 20% of all new home construction. So, out in the suburban growth, that's kind of how it breaks out. Again, South End, West End is still the majority. Inside, it's mostly lower growth, replacements of smaller homes, which we'll talk about in a moment, and then big towers sort of around LRT stations. But then the type of housing in the suburbs, it's still mostly townhouses. Townhouses have accounted for about 50 to 60% of all new homes in that suburban growth for the past number of years. Every year, it's been pretty consistent. Single-family homes have kind of been slipping from, 50 to 40. Now they're at about 35%, sometimes 30% of overall construction. So Ottawa is definitely getting denser, and those new communities, even themselves, are denser than what we were building in the past.
I love that you say that too, because I feel like townhouses are everywhere. Now that you're here, you've confirmed that for me.
1,000% they are.
All right, we're going to get to one more, just in case. Neighborhood changes coming on through our city.
Yeah, so there's big zoning bylaw that's been going through. The city council will approve it, debate and approve it, likely at the end of this month. Big thing will be ability to build denser in existing neighborhoods. Think of like an Alta Vista kind of thing, where you can now build a building that's the same size as a bigger single-family house, but might have 2 or 3 families kind of living in it. And then, of course, new changes that will allow for that zoning for taller buildings around LRT stations. Think kind of the new Civic Campus and how there's a number of bigger towers going around there. Not as big as that across the city for sure, but there will be more towers going through.
Such great information, especially as we head into our brand new year, getting all this in there. Jason, really appreciate your time giving us some guidance in a very tumultuous time.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.